What's good, everybody? My name is SWCJ, also known as SpadesWolf. We reacted to some Patrick CC, how Beyond Scared Straight failed to prevent kids from becoming criminals. I know that, not that I'm a criminal, I know it didn't work for me though. Like, me seeing all these kids going to jails, it just made me think, like, what's wrong with the parents? Like, why would you send your
Beyond
kid?
Scared Straight is easily one of the most controversial shows in history. Parents of troubled youth pay for their children to tour the inside of a prison or county jail so they can be exposed to the dark reality of life behind bars. When they arrive, they meet with real inmates who strike fear into them with threats, with the goal being to prevent today's teenagers from becoming tomorrow's prisoners. But their exposure therapy techniques are definitely questionable.
What the wrong with you, dog? Chill out.
Like,
you started in the wrong.
Does he have his knee on his neck? Like, am I tripping?
Way.
This Kool-Aid, we put this on just like you. Lick your lips. Now stick your hand in that Kool-Aid.
Nah,
just
bro.
stick it in there.
You see your child on TV and this is happening, bruh? And you not, like, calling the TV show and suing them? Like, nah.
Take your finger, just do this to the bottom.
I'm calling the police on you.
Come here. I kiss you, you orange flavor mother. That's the you ready?
Not orange.
You hard, man. You hard. You want to do? Try me.
Nah, bruh. This, he looking at the correction and the correctional officer looking back at him. He like, bruh, really? You gonna let them do this, bruh? They looking at him like, yeah, he letting us do this. We're not gonna put our hands on you. I mean, they are putting their hands on him. He
try me. Yeah, try me. I want you to try me. I want you to try me. Try.
Now, there's no doubt that the show is entertaining and has given us some pretty...
Oh, I love this one, bro. This was the one that really made me not scared of Beyond Scared Straight. She had some guts, bro. She said, "You want to hit me?"
hilarious moments over the years. However, our entertainment is at the expense of children's suffering.
Exactly.
And the craziest part is, it has been proven on multiple occasions that Scared Straight doesn't work. In fact, it might actually increase their chances of becoming lifelong criminals.
Think about it realistically, right? So your kid goes out stealing out of a grocery store, out of a clothes store, out of a designer store, and then they come home and you say, all right, I'm calling the police on you, but I'm not calling the police so you can get locked up and go through any type of recovery system or Thieves Anonymous, some shit like that. It's so I can send you to a jail where people will never get out and they're gonna put their hands on you and scare you because I can't put my hands on you. So they made it illegal for parents to whip their children, but it's not illegal for offenders to whoop your children or put their hands on your children. Something ain't right about that, bro.
A lot of people don't realize that Scared Straight is not just a television show on A&E. It's a program that has been implemented all over the United States for the past 50 years. And the reason it got so popular was based on just one alleged successful experiment. Scared Straight was the name of a television documentary released in 1978, produced by Arnold Shapiro. It was critically acclaimed, won an Academy Award, and even won an Emmy.
See, they're gonna put lipstick on your lips, earrings in your ear, and have you swishing your ass up and down these tears, hustling cigarettes for your man.
What did I say? What did I say, mother? You're here for 2 hours. You belong to us for 2 hours.
Hey, yep. Where
the film documented youth offenders who visited Rahway State Prison in New Jersey. They met with inmates with the goal of being so scared of going to prison that they went on to live a straight or crime-free life. The documentary claimed that 80 to 90% of the 8,000 children who visited Rahway's program would go on to remain law-abiding citizens afterwards. The popularity and surprisingly positive results led to more than 30 states rapidly implementing the program. No further questions were asked. Jails and prisons all over the country saw one documentary and thought they had a solution to all of their youth offender problems. The program's validity was immediately questioned by juvenile delinquency professionals, but that didn't stop it from becoming popular. The original documentary was followed by Scared Straight, Another Story in 1980, also produced by Arnold Shapiro. This one was just a dramatic film. The subjects were actors who did scripted reenactments of their petty crimes, which led them to entering the Scared Straight program, being screamed at, and then feeling reformed after a couple overnights in the prison. Then in 1987, Scared Straight 10 years later aired.
I'll be your host for Scared Straight 10 years later.
Host,
a fascinating update on what's happened to the kids and the convicts filmed a decade ago.
She never did a crime in
what
her
I
life.
steal, I need, and I want. That's embarrassing. 10 years ago.
She went on Scared Straight, bro.
Yeah, I did that. I did that to look good. Now the difference is I want to look good, but I like to pay for what I take.
We got to see the original 1978 crew, and they all explained how much the program changed their life for the better. The second half of the documentary introduced a new group of troubled teenagers. After their trip to Rahway State Prison, the documentary claimed that all 17 of the youth offenders were crime-free just 3 months after their visit. Then MTV connected with Shapiro for another sequel, Scared Straight 99. This documentary was potentially the most raw and shocking of them all. The prisoners were threatening these kids to levels we had never seen before. One inmate made a kid hold his pocket as he walked around the cell.
Hey, yo! Am I not tripping? Or is that sexual assault?
Hold on to this mother. Hold on to my mother. White dog, you get killed, mother. And you walk with me, mother.
This was highly regarded as one of the best out of the series, and people still genuinely believe this was an effective form of therapy for youth offenders, which makes sense when you consider the societal standard during this time period. Mental health issues that are widely known today had not been vigorously studied. Mental health as a whole wasn't taken as seriously as it is now. Plus, it was a lot more common for parents to use tough love and physical punishment to
Hitting children leads to
discipline.
trauma, not better behavior. But you letting somebody else hit your children. This post is about the practice of hitting children to modify their behavior, usually referred to as spanking. I choose not to use the term here, in part because it minimizes the seriousness of bodily violence against children, and also because the term has been co-opted to refer a type of consensual sexual play. Obviously, you're not using that in that context when you're whipping your kids. I use the other terms like hitting, physical punishment, and corporal punishment. Also, content notice these are references to violence and slavery in this post. So this is the thing that I agree with. I don't agree with the whole corporal punishment and consensual sex, all that bullshit. Because niggas have been making words and making other words for words since before any of this talk. But I believe, and this is definitely one of those opinions that's gonna have me standing in a corner like a dude from Tangled. But I believe you should definitely whoop your kids, bro. Because if you don't, not only does it tear a bond between you and your kid, as in like the factor that you won't put your hands on them because it's illegal. Like that makes everything that they do like, oh, man, ain't nobody gonna do nothing to me. My mom wouldn't even put her hands on me. Now, I believe abuse and bodily violence is different than hitting or whooping your kids. Because, I mean, think about all the kids that didn't get whoopings and how they're criminals, and then the kids that did get whoopings and the parents just didn't say anything to anybody, and now they act right. It's just... The whole slavery connotation, yes, it makes it look bad, but at some point you got to discipline your kids. And if talking doesn't work and yelling doesn't work, then, hey.
And their children. These programs were seen as an extremely cheap and convenient solution to a very complex problem that is juvenile delinquency. But where Scared Straight received renowned media attention was when they released their 20 years later special. They claimed that of the 17 original 1978 children, only one of them became a career criminal. The 95%.
See what I'm talking about? Back then, when it's the big rave and they can modify the ratings, they can modify the takes, they can cut out whatever they want to cut out and then portray whatever story they want to portray, that makes viewers go up. And of course they can air that. But when you put stuff that's inherently violent against children and then you show that it doesn't work, then what's the result?
success rate shocked news publications. Scared Straight was a miracle solution. They used 17 people's stories for 20 years to justify this entire program around the United States. But the popular A&E series you all know and love didn't come until 2011 and was produced by the same man, Arnold Shapiro. It had already been a well-seasoned program all over the United States for 30 plus years. Beyond Scared Straight was a TV show that documented the experiences of troubled children as they embarked on a forced tour of a maximum security prison or jail. During the tours, inmates and officers would go to the greatest lengths, screaming, locking them in cells, putting lipstick on them, roughing them up, anything they could do to shock the children and make them terrified of going to prison in hopes that it would steer them clear of a life of crime.
What's up? You like to fight, homie? That's what you like to do, huh? You little bitch. You's a bitch, homie. You's a Pop-Tart. I see right through you, homie.
You better not stop. You better.
You're hard, man. You hard. You want to be hard?
There you go. You want to do? Try me.
You smirk at me.
He says he don't know. You can't speak
No way
up.
this man climbed all the way over the table. What is that, bro? That's not a table.
Fact, bitch, you hold this. You drop it, I'll smack out of you. I don't give a about going.
This was the most staggering and horrific Scared Straight program we had ever seen, and people loved it. The show's premiere alone attracted a staggering 3.7 million viewers, making it the most watched original series debut in the network's history. The undeniable success of Beyond Scared Straight led them to producing 83 episodes across 9 seasons, spanning from 2011 until 2015. But the most eye-opening realization about this show is that the Scared Straight program was proven by the federal government not
they are literally
to work.
putting their hands
Since
on
the
your
release
kid.
of the original film, many justice institutions.
You telling me that you can't put your hands on your kid or discipline your child, but you can send your child to people that you don't know, people that you don't know the background, you don't know their history, you don't know their criminal background, like their record, anything, and you don't even know what they're doing until they put it, like they air it on TV. And then you see this happening to your kid, and you don't say nothing, bro?
And criminal prevention professionals have thoroughly studied the effects of the program to determine if it actually works. Surprisingly, numerous studies have shown that the Scared Straight method can actually do more harm than good. The most significant study was conducted by the U.S. Department of Justice after the release of the original film. They examined the outcomes of 9 controlled trials conducted from 1967 to 1992. This involved over 900 children, with the average age of 15 to 17, who participated in Scared Straight-like programs in 8 different states. Also, each study was conducted by a different research team. Every one of these studies also had a control group that did not attend a Scared Straight program. So they were comparing youth offenders who went to Scared Straight versus youth offenders who didn't attend.
Look at this. Look at this. Y'all know what it is. But you see her trying to act like she really care about this little boy. Acting like she's so heartbroken, but you send him to the program.
Attend one, and measured their likeliness to become a reoffender. The study found no evidence to support the effect.
Scared Straight is not an effective program or prevention strategy. Randomized trial in the United States, including analysis of the original New Jersey Scared Straight program, revealed no effect on the delinquent/criminal behavior of participants who went through the program when compared to those who did not. More explicitly, a comprehensive What Works report went to the U.S. Congress in 1997. More than 500 crime prevention evaluations listed Scared Straight under what does not work.
Of
increased offending. You see this? Scared Straight programs not only fail to deter crime, but have been shown to result in increased juvenile offending when compared to no intervention
in similar programs. In fact, all analysis showed that involvement in these programs increased measures of crime and delinquency. In nearly every one of the 9 studies, the group who went to Scared Straight had a higher rate of reoffense than the group who didn't go. After this comprehensive study was published, many others were conducted with different test subjects, different age groups, and different crimes. Many of the studies would produce very similar results.
They're doing government experiments because not only is the DOJ investigating it and not shutting it down and making it illegal, but they're doing experiments like they used to do on people, like the Russian no sleep experiment, I'm not gonna go too much into that. But anyways, they're doing experiments on kids, on children.
Results. In 1997, University of Maryland researchers completed a report for Congress on the evidence for various crime prevention strategies. The researchers had no problem listing Scared Straight as one of the programs that doesn't work. To make things worse, these programs could potentially violate federal law. In 2002, which was 9 years before the first A&E episode aired, the Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention in Washington informed all states that Scared Straight programs or similar programs may violate the separation requirement of the JJDP Act. According to the act, it is mandatory that juvenile offenders and non-offenders should not be detained or confined in any institution where they may have sight or sound contact with adult offenders. In short, it's illegal to have kids in jail with adults, which makes this clip even harder to watch.
A terrified 9-year-old boy dangled like a raw piece of meat
I
in front
remember
of a
seeing
pack of prisoners.
No, this is messed up.
His crime: stealing pocket change from his mom and lying.
I think we can all agree that traumatizing a child
Hey,
to
bro,
this degree.
look at this, bro. They have their hands all over your kid, bro. And where's the parent, bro? Nowhere around. But they putting this on TV. The parent didn't sue. The parent didn't file legal action. None of that, bro.
For stealing pocket change is insane. Then filming it, editing it, and putting it out into the world is next level. One time they even showed these children a body and described to them what their parents
A dead body? Bro. Look. She looking at the camera like, are you serious? You really brought us in here to see a dead body? He thinking the same thing. He looking like he probably got into a life of crime. Because he probably thought, hey, that don't look as bad as they saying.
Experience if they go to jail and die while on the inside. These programs typically break these children down. They start crying, are mortified, and just want to go home. The sad part is, their home life is probably rough as well. On the surface, the concept behind these Scared Straight programs makes sense. Troubled kids are so afraid of prison that they change their ways to avoid such a dark future. However, there are multiple examples that say otherwise. Toby Keith Johnson was first featured on the show on Season 3, Episode 13. He was quiet and didn't show any emotion. The guards tried to break him down and make him feel bad about his choices, but he didn't budge. At the end, when the parents reunite with the children, Toby's mother didn't show up. 8 months later, Toby was featured on the show again. This time, he was an inmate. He was incarcerated for allegations of assaulting his mom. He got out 2 years later on parole, but sadly, continued a life of crime. He was arrested multiple
Apprehended 2 men with methamphetamine, bro. Nah, bro. Parents be in your kids' lives, bro. Y'all saw it in the clip before. She didn't show up. And that was supposed to be like his big moment on the TV show where he had like a heart-to-heart with his mom, bro. Imagine being ready for that interaction, getting a break from all these inmates yelling in your ear, correctional officers putting their hands on you, grabbing you, pulling you, pushing you, and then your mom don't show up, bro. Like, this is sickening, bro. And then they brought him back on the show. After they see that he's having problems, bro. They didn't put him in AA, none of that, bro. They didn't try to help this kid, bro. And see what happened.
Times on meth and gun charges, but the most recent one was the worst of them all. In August of 2020, he was arrested for imprisoning a 25-year-old woman and making threats of harm, with Johnson forcefully grabbing the victim by the throat, choking her, and violently throwing her to the ground. The aggression continued with it, even going as far as Toby threatening her with a knife. Law enforcement would report visible signs of bruising on the victim's neck. I think it's pretty obvious that Scared Straight had no positive effect on Toby whatsoever. Franklin Morris made his premiere on A&E in 2012. At the time of filming, he was living in Baltimore with his mother, Dana. In an emotional episode, Dana revealed the extent of Franklin's school suspensions, stating that she couldn't even begin to give a precise number. Franklin himself shared,
What is he getting suspended for? Let me know that. And then tell me, is it worth sending your child to jail?
a nonchalant attitude towards his mother's concerns, saying,
My mother says I'm either going to end up dead or in jail. I really don't pay no mind.
At the young age of 4,
as you should. If your mom says something like that, do not listen to that. Be a good person because you know being a good person is good. Not because somebody says you're going to end up dead or in jail. That is not constructive criticism. That's not anything that's going to help him.
14.
That's not gonna make
Franklin
him
participated in the
feel
program,
any type
already
of
having
way.
convictions for gambling and vandalism. One of the incidents that landed Franklin a spot on the show saw Franklin and his friends wreak havoc in a store, knocking items off the shelves and vandalizing a local shop. Years after his time on the show, Franklin Morris became one of 3 teenagers who met a grim fate near a playground in North Baltimore. Alongside a 19-year-old and a 17-year-old, Franklin was found, shot in the head, and pronounced dead at the scene.
What I thought about going to the jail was, it really wasn't no big deal. The reset program, it didn't change me. It really don't feel no different.
Since the majority of the show's participants were children at the time, it's hard to find the long-term results of their lives. However, based on what I found, it seems like a lot of them went on to live regular lives. If you search what happened to so-and-so from Beyond Scared Straight, most of what you find is clickbait leading you to an Instagram page of someone who we can't confirm was actually on the show. So if the program has been proven to be ineffective through various extensive studies across the past 30 years, why did they do a show about it? Well, that's because the guy who has built his entire career from this program, Arnold Shapiro, is fully convinced that this program is a good thing. Shapiro says that all the extensive studies are totally irrelevant because they were done from 1967 to 1999. He also said that only the academic community believes proper counseling for youth offenders works. If society had the money or resources to do that, that would be great if every kid could have years of counseling, but it's not realistic.
See? This man is saying that kids need counseling, but the fact that people can't provide that because they worried about jobs, they worried about taxes, they worried about the government shutdowns, they worried about pandemics, they worried about day-to-day struggles that they have to deal with, they worried about mental issues. Parents are dealing with mental illnesses and mental issues, and they can't even take care of their kids because they can't afford what their kids need. So
it would be interesting if A&E used the millions of profits from the show to get these youth offenders counseling, since society doesn't have the money, right? Shapiro shrugs off the criticism of Scared Straight. There's every variation. It works for some, it doesn't work for some. But you can say that about any program that exists. Shapiro thinks that as long as it works for some, then it justifies the program. And since the program exists, he is happy profiting off of it. He has openly admitted that the children they decide to be on the show are not the ones that they think will change, but rather the ones with the best personality. It really is based on their personalities and what happens with them. We didn't have any belief that Brandon T. from Michigan, who stood up to the officers and just kind of had a meltdown, would ever change. Even when the tour was over, he got thrown out, but we still picked him because it was so explosive, and we never saw anything like that before or since. Although, other kids have stood up to officers. It's amazing. When I went through high school or even college, you never thought you would disrespect a teacher or an authority.
So hold up. You're telling me that first he's saying that kids need counseling, but they can't afford that. Be realistic. Now he's saying it's amazing to see people being disrespectful and disruptive to a program that's supposed to be helping them, and he doesn't really care which kids are being changed. He just thought it would be good viewership and good ratings for the show.
Especially somebody in law enforcement. But these kids have no fear. It's crucial to question whether the pursuit of profits overshadows moral principles, as corporate interests often prioritize ratings and financial gain over the well-being of humans. But it makes it even worse when you consider that the people they are affecting are not consenting adults. These are children, and it's being broadcasted to millions of people to watch them suffer. They are being told that this is genuine rehabilitation, and they don't really have a choice to participate. Occasionally, they rebel so much that they get kicked out of the jail, but most of the time, they are trapped with no escape. The truth is, everyone wants a quick and cheap solution to an extremely complicated and layered social problem that is juvenile delinquency. But hey, as long as it works sometimes, it's all good. Right?
Dang, bro. Appreciate y'all for watching. If you liked it, press the like button, press the subscribe button, share with a friend, share with a family member, put it on a playlist, share with yourself. But until the next time, make sure you get a mental evaluation. Make sure you talk to a counselor, talk to your parents, talk to your friends, talk to whoever you need to talk to. Mental illness is not something to be played around with. Holla at me.